why do small changes really matter in stroke recovery? I'm going to answer that question and give you some examples and show you some muscles and some nerve illustrations to help this make sense to you. So if you don't know me, I'm Tracy Markley, a biomechanics specialist, fitness specialist. I've been in the fitness industry for over 30 years, and one of my specialties is stroke recovery, fall prevention, balance with people with different dynamics and seniors. So what I'm going to bring you today, I wanted to answer, I guess, some questions. I see people, they're posting, they're asking things about, oh, I made this little change. It's not much, but this little change. Or they'll say, do little steps matter? Do small things matter? And I'm going to tell you why they do. I'm going to give you different examples. Okay. So first, let's start with, you're someone, you've had a stroke and you haven't been able to move your arm or your hand, or it's stuck in spasticity, whatever, something's going on with your hand from the stroke and your arms. You don't have control of moving your fingers. And all of a sudden you had maybe a little tiny twinge is happening in that pinky. And that may seem like nothing, but let me share some things with you. Okay, when it comes to the hand, I had it all set up to go, and let me get the picture. The nerves that run your hands and your arms, they come about like this part in your upper back. They come out and they, go down your arms and your fingers, and the brain sends a message to the spinal cord, sends a message to these nerves to move. So when you're recovering from a brain injury, which is stroke and stroke recovery, the brain's trying to figure out, how do I get these messages to these parts again and move them properly? And yes, sometimes the brain will not sometimes recover certain parts. That happens, and that sucks, and I know, and it's awful. But in many, many cases, if you've watched my other videos, taken my course, or read my books, you have heard me speak, write, and teach that sometimes the professional around you is just not bringing the advanced knowledge to your body that needs that advanced stroke recovery knowledge to take you further. That's why I try to share my videos to help you guys. That's why I have my books out there. That's why I have my stroke recovery course to help you, to help fitness professionals learn more about stroke recovery. So let's go back to the hand. So as I said, the nerves come out, like the low neck, upper high back. And I have, if you can see it well, don't have it on my big chart, but this is in my books, this is in my courses. See the nerves? All the nerves coming all the way down to that pinky. And that's a big part of a nerve that works the arms too, but then it all branches off. So if you look here, so if you're getting a little movement in that pinky and it seems like nothing, it means the brain got a message to the spinal cord, to the nerves, to send a message to get to that furthest part, the pinky. That is actually huge, although it may seem like nothing. And when I'm working with patients, clients, stroke survivors, what do you want to call you guys? If they come in and say, my pinky was like twinging at night. One lady, her husband had a stroke, and she told me the last few nights when he's sleeping, his pinky's twinging. And to me, that's the brain trying to get that going. So if you're having something like that going on, start hardcore working on your hand exercises. Get it working. Work on your posture. Remember, I was just saying how these nerves come out, for your arms and your fingers, and a lot of the ones for your hands and fingers are right in here. So if you're in poor posture, it's going to be harder for your body to communicate to that. Also, your brain sends a message to the center of your body to stabilize strong. The limbs are going to move. So if you're in poor posture and the message to stabilize the body is weak, it's also going to hinder the recovery of the arm and the legs, and the limbs, the arms and legs. So that's one thing I wanted to share when it comes to your hands. It may seem like nothing, but it's big. So start adding things in. Again, look at my videos, look at my courses, I have so much information in there. It's hard to put them all in these videos, but also, it's, always doing work for free doesn't pay the bills, so you have to have things out there too. So it's helpful to me if you guys go read a book or take a course or do something. One, there's so much information there for you, but also because, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of money printing these things up and getting illustrations made. All my illustrations, I get them made so they can work in my books and stuff. But that's not the main point I'm here. My point is, so for example, just with the hand part, and most therapists that have you trying to do these with your fingers, not all of them tell you to touch, open up as wide as you can. Touch, open up as wide as you can. Because gripping the hand and moving the hand is things flex, things extend. So you have to try to get your brain to not only just touch, but touch, open up as far as you can. So I try to tell my clients, and do it on both hands. Do it on the hand that's not affected by the stroke, and do it on the hand that's affected by the stroke. If you're doing these exercises, and don't do them here, be in proper posture, abs in, either standing up tall or sitting up tall, and work on. I try to get people, if their hand will go out, do it with their hand straight, but you may not be able to. So I suggest people try to keep it with your arms here. Keep this all open, lengthen it out. And when you're doing it, work on closing, touching, work on opening. So don't just do like little medium movements, do complete movements. It's like if you're doing a bicep curl, you don't just kind of go like this. Do the full range of motion that you possibly can, so you can start training the brain to try to get the brain to go, oh, I need to do that. And if you're doing both hands, the brain's kind of coordinated, and also this hand will want to copy that hand. Sometimes you may want to try them together, separately. Play with it. Do it different ways. Challenge your brain, challenge your hand movement in different ways. So your hands close, your hands open, your fingers go in circles, your wrists go in circles. There's a lot of different movements. So sometimes it's hard just kind of go move, move, move. But if you're like, okay, let's sit at the table and have maybe a pile of dish towels, or just one dish towel, but practice folding the dish towel. Even if you can't completely make this arm do it, your arm's trying to get all the different movements that it takes to fold the towel. So use both hands, but try to get this hand to do it, because all the movements, there's so many different movements that the arm can do. I knocked it over. It does all these different movements, bends, stands, flex, that laterally, it adducts, it abducts, it goes in circular motion. So when you're doing everyday life, we're kind of doing a lot of motions, but you're not thinking every step. Like if you're at the grocery store and you're trying to take a can of peas or something off the shelf to buy it, you don't usually stand and go, reach, grab, pull, in. Your whole body's kind of like wherever you're at, you may reach, you may bend, you may reach, pull, and there's a lot going on. But when you have a stroke or lose a movement, you have to focus every step of the way. And some of the steps your brain might not know it needs to do. That makes sense? So if you're practicing, like practice folding a towel, maybe take a ball, move a ball back and forth and around on the table, do all kinds of different things with it. So at some point you're hitting all the different range of motion, so the brain keeps waking up the different things. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to help you with that part too, giving you some tips. In my book, I have all these exercises for the arms and what you can do sitting at a table and things to help you as well. But so again, if you're getting little tweaks or twinges and you're thinking, oh, no big deal, that's a big deal. Again, brain, spinal column, nerves to the finger. So if something's getting down there, that means these steps are progressing and they're trying to get there. And in my training with people, if they come in, and we may be working on certain things, and they may come in and come out of the blue, go, my big toe's moving, and it wasn't moving 2 days ago, and we've been working on something else. It's time to start focusing on your foot or your toes, or follow the pattern of what your body's doing too. So sometimes when we go, me too, I've got therapy, it didn't help me much. Not saying you didn't, but sometimes it's so basic that you don't get far. Like example, whenever I've had to go for back therapy, no matter what's wrong with my back, They all do the exact same thing on a sheet of paper. And it's like, but I have a different, my scoliosis is kicking in now, or this is that. A lot of them don't further their education, or they don't make it individual to you. So if your brain's coming back, and like you guys know this probably by now, or maybe you're new to a stroke when you don't know, everybody's brain comes back at different speeds. Some you have control of, some you don't have control of. You, like I've said in other videos and things, you may have two people, they've been diagnosed with the same brain injury, the same type of stroke. They may appear like they have the same effects to work on, but maybe this person, you guys do the exact same exercise, but this person comes back 6 months quicker than you on something. It's not because you're doing something wrong. So some brains don't heal as quick. So that's another thing. If you're in therapy and they're like, oh, it's been a year, you're not going to go any further, don't listen to them. Well, listen to them, but don't always take that to heart, because you may have needed a year and a half for your brain to get somewhere. And someone else took 6 months. Someone else took 9 months. So if you keep pushing through and trying, you have more of a chance for things to come back, because everybody's brain's different. So I don't like seeing people give up on themselves when maybe they just need that extra month to get something going. And because every brain's different. Okay. But I had to throw that in, but that's off the track of this, but part of it all. So with that, now I lost the train of thought what I was going with. So again, here I'm going. So if you're doing all your stroke recovery exercises and therapy, and all of a sudden something's coming back, and you're like, that's a weird twinge, or wow, that numb spot in my leg, I can feel my leg now. Or that numb spot in my face, it's I could feel my skin on my face now. Or maybe you picked up a glass of cold water and it's like, wow, I feel the coldness. Because some people, they lose the sensation of hot and cold, or even the texture of touching something. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, sensations are coming back. That means nerves are waking up, sensations are coming back, cognitive skills are coming back. So even if you think it's the tiniest thing, whether you're training on your own or you're training with a therapist or a professional, communicate that to somebody working with you. Because that little thing could be them going, great, let's go do this now. Instead of staying here when your brain's going, no, go over here. So that's what's worked really well with my clients. And if you looked at my first book, The Stroke of an Artist, The Journey of a Fitness Trainer and Stroke Survivor, if you heard me talk, he wanted his story shared. He was an amazing survivor to work with. Communicated so well. We got to the point where he would come in sometimes and go, I'm feeling kind of off. So I watched this pattern. He would come in maybe a little dizzy, maybe a little off, not feeling right. And then 3 days later, something came back. So it's almost like he'd do well, feel off, and all of a sudden he would make a gain. So with him, his brain would kind of go woo a little bit as he's getting something back. And we figured that out after seeing the pattern. But that may not be you. So, but if you can, I know it's maybe hard, but pay attention to things like that. Or maybe keep a journal if you can. It's like, wow, because you might find a pattern that's working for you. And another thing with him, he would come in and say, okay, here's an example. We were, a couple years working, maybe almost 3 years now post-stroke. He always had the numbness in his leg. He could work his leg, but he didn't feel it. Like if he touched it, it was numb spots. He was to the point, I met him at a walker, but he was to the point where he could stand on BOSU balls and things. You can see some of his videos in the, I have some videos on power moments. Some of his moments are in there. So he's standing on the BOSU ball, which is very stimulating the central nervous system. So make sure you watch my videos and my books on everything on working with balance discs, balance pads, and BOSU ball, because you stimulate your central nervous system, which helps hands and things come back more. I get people to stand in those and do your hand exercises as you're on that if you can. Hold on at a bar. Okay, there's so much to learn. I'm always going off on little things. There's so much to stroke recovery. The brain is so complex. So back to his story. Okay, so he's balancing on the BOSU ball, and he goes, oh my God, right in front of me, I just got this feeling back in my leg. So he had to get off. Made him a little unstable for a second. And then the next several weeks training him, his balance was more challenging because his brain has made the connection to balance with what sensations he had. Now his brain's connecting to this feeling in his leg he didn't have for a while. Now he's like, everything felt different. We had to not retrain that, but his brain had to retrain the sensations of balance again as different feelings came back in his legs. One time I was with him, again, on the BOSU, he was doing like a plank with a BOSU ball upside down. And I told this, I think I said the story in another video recently. He goes, oh my God, I can feel it, because he was holding on to something. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I always knew I was holding it, but he never physically felt what he was holding. He never told me that. I did not know he had that. And that's when I went and got him a cold bottle of water out of the refrigerator, and he goes, I feel it now. So he got his sensation back of feeling things at the gym when he was with me. So he was so much learning, so much like wow moments. So when someone's lacking something, you see it come back. So those are the things you want to tell someone. If you're having things like that happen, if you're working with, like I said, therapist, trainer, anybody, and you're like, wow, I can feel my fingers now, or something, tell someone you're working with. And if they're knowledgeable and they're working with you as you in the moment, they'll go, oh my God, let's go do this, or let's go do that. And that's what you want. And I know there's not always people out there like that. That's why I've done my videos, done my books, done my courses to help educate you guys and caregivers and professionals to help people do that. So you're not just in a box. You're in your thing and you're training to your purpose. Does that make sense? I hope that's making sense. So that's just an example of the hand, little things in the hand. I've heard people talking about, I could take a couple steps. It's not very good, but I can take a couple steps, or walking. That's great, because your body takes over 200 muscles to walk. You have the muscles that help you balance, to stabilize, to lift the leg, to lower the leg, to swing the arms, to rotate the spine. The brain sends a message to the tiny muscles in the spine to balance and stabilize your core. So much is going on. So you may think, oh my God, I am walking, but I can only go 2 minutes. You're building up to be stronger. You may take 6 months to get to 10 minutes. You may take 2 more weeks. You may take another week. I don't know. But they don't know what exercises you're doing to help strengthen your legs too. So again, look at my other education, because you have muscles in here that just by simply squeezing a ball, stabilizing your legs will help your legs be more stable. There's a lot of different little different little pieces to put it together. It's like putting a puzzle together. So when it comes to, so let's go to the walking part. And again, if you've seen my other things, you know what I'm talking about. So I have a bigger one right here. This is I've showed this one a few videos ago. So this is the multifidus muscle in the spine. And then you also have all these other little tiny ones in the spine and more. Your brain, all those muscles, they help stabilize, they help begin the rotation. Your spinal rotator. So these tiny muscles begin some of the movements. So you want to strengthen your core. You want to practice balancing and strengthening, because your upright balance in is going to help strengthen these muscles. If you're in poor posture and weak in here, that means these deep muscles are weak. And it's going to be harder to come back in anything, because you need to work all this. You need to get the core strong. So when someone says, oh, I'm going to stand up a little better now, that's huge, because that means all these tiny muscles, tiny but powerful muscles, it means your transverse muscle, your psoas muscle, and these muscles in your core that helps hold you up, all this inner structure of tons and tons of muscle are coming back stronger. And when they're stronger, they help in coordination. So again, when you walk, we rotate. I mean, I'm exaggerating. So you see, we don't usually walk like this. It's natural for the body to rotate. And depending on weakness, balance, neurological stuff, coming from the brain injury, Maybe you have spasticity in some of these little muscles and you don't know it because you don't see it like you physically see your arm and other parts. When they start coming back and you work them, it's going to help everything. So if you're again just being a little discouraged because you think just walking a little bit doesn't mean a lot, remember what I said. There's over 200 muscles involved in walking. You have to stabilize the legs, stabilize the hips, stabilize the core. And rotation, arm swing, leg swing. There are so many muscles involved in walking. If you're starting to get it back, it's huge. It's not a little thing. It's a big thing. So be proud of yourself and keep working with it. I hope this is helping you guys. So again, when people ask, do little things matter? These little things are huge things. Huge things. So don't discourage those little things. Build on them. Read my books. Look at the course. Get the videos. Look at something that, or find a professional if you don't have one already that knows things. Go in there and say, hey, my finger's doing this, or when I got off the toilet last night, I felt more stable than I did ever since my stroke. Anything. Tell them. Tell them anything, even though you may think it's silly. It's not. If you're like, yeah, I got out of bed last night and I wasn't as dizzy as I usually am. That's huge. It may seem little, but those things are huge. Tell the professionals that are working with you. And if you're not working with a professional, keep educating yourself. Look someone up. Look up my stuff. Find something that will keep going with, where you're at. I hope this is helping you guys. I really always just want to help you guys with this. So again, I have a course. It's stroke recovery training. It was originally made, and still is made, for the fitness industry. But I've had a few stroke survivors take it too, because basically it's this stuff I'm teaching, but a little more in detail. Even though you wonder, how can I get more detail? Because I give you guys a lot of details. It's broken up in pieces instead of all munched together in a YouTube video. So go learn. Knowledge is power. I talk about, again, walking. Okay. We talked about there's so many muscles in walking. But I made a video a couple weeks ago on hip flexors because I've seen people talking and asking questions about hip flexors, because often you'll have doctors or caregivers or someone say, work on your hip flexors. They don't tell you what they are. So I have a video on that showing you what muscles they are, and that this movement is hip flexion. But when you walk, it's hip flexion. It's just not this full range of motion, but hip flexion and walking. So if you're getting your walking skills back, that means your hip flexion's coming back too. Does that make sense? And there's just so much. I wish I could just teach you guys everything. I'm trying to teach you guys everything. I'm really trying to help you guys. Anyway, so try not to be so hard on yourself. Okay? Be kind to yourself. Trust the little things. They build up to the bigger things. Think of a baby learning to walk. It doesn't just stand up one day, it walks. First it has to learn to sit without falling over, which isn't just, oh, my baby sat up. Let me tell you what happens. This is with us too. It is developing its proprioception, its spatial awareness. The body's learning to move and stop itself in space without it just falling over. That's huge, huge. When the baby's sitting there, starts playing with toys, if it reaches for a toy and it falls over, once it can sit, the baby can sit there and kind of reach for a toy and bring it back. That's all proprioception and spatial awareness. It's your brain saying, stabilize the body, reach for that toy, pull it back to you without falling over. That's all kinds of things going on in the body. It's the brain. It's the brain sending messages to these muscles I just shared with you about stabilizing the spine and the core. It's not a little thing. So if you're still in a wheelchair, I suggest always practice standing up with a pole. Have your chair under you and practice standing. Practice balancing, keeping your abs in, standing up tall, because when you practice standing up tall, holding your abs in, you're helping train all those stabilizing muscles in the spine. When the spine is stable, you therefore can get your shoulders aligned if you're having shoulder issues or shoulder subluxation, which I just did a really good video on that last week too. And your pelvic needs to be stable to balance your leg muscles. So it all just works together. So now you have the baby, it's sitting, it's reach for a toy without falling over. That's like that's spatial awareness. So think of, you can't walk very well, fall prevention, a senior, anyone. You're tripping on things, you can't, spatial awareness. My foot is lifting, my foot is going over an object on the ground and it's back down. That is spatial awareness. Your brain, coordinated spatial awareness of where items are in space to move around on the body. That's what a baby's learning as it's sitting there reaching for toys and trying to coordinate, not falling over every time it tries to do something. And then in time it gets that skill, then it starts crawling, then it stands up, but it's not just one day they do it. And it's not just about the body standing up because the legs are working. All these cognitive skills or coordinating, so they can walk without running into walls. So they can walk and feel that there's this much space between them and a wall. Sometimes when people have strokes, you lose that. So practicing balancing and standing on balance discs and balance pads and BOSU balls helps train that back. There's so much to this. So again, if you're learning to stand and walk and it feels like a lot's not happening, I'm telling you, a lot is happening. Think of that child. And then when the child goes, so this is a good thing to remember, when that child is trying to walk, it doesn't just stand up and walk on Mondays at 2 o'clock at the therapist and it just sits around for the rest of the week. It tries to practice, the child's trying to walk now every single day. Maybe a few times a day. It's just naturally happening in the body. It's not trying to come back on a scheduled appointment time with the therapist. So that comes back to whether you're getting little twinges, you're getting little steps, you're not sure if the little progress is making it. Whatever you're going through, big progress, little progress, maybe you're not sure if you're making any, do stuff every day. Think of that baby. Sitting, crawling, standing up, walking. It's not on an appointment scheduled with a therapist. They do. I mean, again, you can only do the stuff you can safely do at home. And like I always tell people, get a bar, especially for the balance and the stabilization. If you're working on balance and stabilization, you want to work with something stable. You don't want to work with a chair. You want to work with a bar in the wall. I have a video about a bar in the wall. And that's also on my books and stuff too. Safety, and you will get more back when you do that. So if you're, again, like I'm saying, when you're coming back, make sure you're trying to do something every day. If you want that hand to move, don't just do it at the appointments and maybe randomly at night. Work on it as much as you can. And I know it gets fatiguing. Brain recovery is fatiguing. The brain just trying to repair itself is taking a bunch of energy. That's what comes into the neurofatigue. Your brain is it's trying to repair itself. It's so tired, and fatigue is just horrendous for many, many stroke survivors. So trying to do all your physical stuff to come back in the middle of fatigue, I know is very, very hard. I just know. I see it, I work with it, and so do what you can. If you see a part starting to make progress, work with that part. Do more things. Find more things. Tell your professional where you're doing. So again, I hope this helps you. This video is about a half hour long. I know YouTube's like, sometimes make an hour video. Well, I don't think you guys will watch an hour video. Plus, is so much, and I feel like I end up going off on, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then it's like, I don't want to be all around all over the place, but I want to help you guys. So I'm going to give you one more story. And again, it's in my stuff. So one of the clients had the hand, because he was 2 years post-stroke when I met him, an older gentleman, late 70s, maybe early 80s, a long time ago. He was having his hand. So this is an extra tip for you guys. Okay. Working on his hand. He would get angry at his hand. He would cuss at his hand. He would call his hand names. He would call his hand the bad hand. Two things with the story. So I told him, stop calling it the bad hand. Call it the affected hand. I don't always know if I believe this with everything in life, but sometimes our mindset calling something bad and negative can work against us. I actually think in the physical parts, like maybe it does. Because I've had people who tell me, I'm never going to lose weight. And those are the women that never lose they're like, I'm never going to lose my last 10 pounds. And they don't. So I had a couple people back in the day, I just told them, okay, don't say I'm never going to lose 10 pounds. Stop saying that for a couple weeks. She lost that extra 10 pounds within 2 weeks. So sometimes our mind does block stuff by being negative talk to our body. I don't believe that's always a fact for everyone. But if it's for you, be nice. Be nice to your body. Don't cuss out your hand, even though I know it's probably very tempting. Anyway, so with him specifically, when he was nicer, he wasn't so angry working out. He was making a little more progress. But, so I can get him to do his finger things, open and shut his hand, but I try to have his hand to the side. But I would have him standing on a balanced disc, which is an unstable environment, but it's a round disc, or the BOSU ball, and we would be holding onto a bar as he's balancing, but he's holding on for safety. So he's holding on with his more secure hand. The stroke affected hand, I had him to his side. So I would have him do his exercises as he's balancing, because as he's balancing on that disc, his brain and spinal column, the central nervous system is the brain and spinal column, is being activated more. It's getting fired up more. So you're firing this up more because you're on this balance disc as he's working on his hand. The third time we did that, his hand opened up further every single time. So we would do some exercises, sitting or whatever, and then when I got him the disc, it would open almost all the way up. But he would only do things with me, I think twice a week. I think he'd only do a half hour because he was, So, but when he went home, he wouldn't do anything. So my clients would go home and they do stuff too. That's with everything with fitness and body. If you do something every day, there's more of a chance something's going to come back. He would make progress and kind of go back, make progress and go back. But he would refuse to do anything at home. But the ones that go home and continue what they can do safely, like if you don't have a bar at home, I would say don't get it on a disc. But if you have a bar at home, you can use things to challenge you. You just always have to make sure you are in a safe environment for yourself. So that's another story when it comes to hands. So if you're feeling little twinges in your hands, if you have that kind of equipment, where is my disc? I have my pad right here. There's the balance pad. The disc stimulates it more, but my disc is not in here right now. So you just stand in here, good posture, holding up tall, and you do your hand exercises, the things that you do. Instead of just sitting at a table doing this, or sitting in a chair doing this, stand up, elongate, balance, get this stimulated, and then do this. That's a good tip for you guys. Another good tip is you stand on the balance pad or the disc or the BOSU ball, and that's on all my other stuff too. It's a good way to warm up the central nervous system. It's a good way to warm up the spine and all those muscles I showed you deep in the spine, get them warmed up. Remember, the brain sends a message to the center of the body. I mean, we don't know what's happening. It's so quickly, minutes of a second. Stabilize, the limbs are going to move. If this is weak, this is what happens to a lot of seniors or people with balance issues. If this is weak, you're more prone to falls, whether you've had a stroke or not. So you always want to work on that stabilizing system so the communication is stabilized and the muscles that stabilize you are strong, so you're stable to work your limbs and have them in proper alignment and get the best communication for them. So again, sometimes I feel like I ramble with you guys, but there's so much information and I just want to put that out there. So if this video helps you, I hope something in it does. Often I tell people, try to watch the video from the very beginning to the end. One, if somebody makes a video for you guys, watch it. They're trying hard to help you. But at the same time, there may be something I say at the end that resonates with you, but the beginning you may be like, oh, I know that, or no, that doesn't fit me. Then I say something at the end, it's like, oh my God, that's the thing I needed to hear. You may just get one thing out of a video, but it's something that matters for you. So if you cut things short, sometimes you may be stopping yourself from learning something that matters for you. It may not matter to 2 stroke survivors over there, but for you, you're like, that's it. That's what I'm going through. So I say a lot of things because you guys are all at different levels and we all think differently. So example of that real quick is I did hair years ago and people come in and say, oh, can you take a couple inches off? And I'm like, well, show me what a couple inches is. So some people go like 2 inches. They'd all had different versions of what they called an inch or what they called 2 inches. So we all communicate different. And I may tell someone to stand up tall and they might want to do this. But if I say hold your core in, they hold their core in. Some people I say stand up tall and they know to go to their core. So we all resonate differently with the instructions or teaching. So I kind of hit it all different ways, which may sound like I'm putting a lot out there, but one sentence saying the same thing you might go, yes, that's it. And I may say the same things 5 more times, but worded a little differently. And that resonated with this person or this person because I try to hit everybody because we all take personalities and or words and teachings differently. So again, have a good day. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, write a comment, ask questions if you need questions, share this with people you know it would help. It helps me if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps get to other stroke survivors to help them as well. My books are on Amazon. TracyMarkley.com, my website as well. But if you go to TracyMarkley.com, all the links to everything in social media is there. Amazon is Amazon.com/author/Tracy Markley, TRACY MARKLEY. Be good to yourself. Drink your water. Hydrate. Hydrated brain is important. See my other videos and books. Have a good day, you guys.